Hi guys, a few days ago I made a video covering my UI and my add-ons for a Resto Druid. So today I thought I'd just do another short video for a balanced Druid. So very briefly, the add-ons I use, it's a basic LVUI setup. So most people are probably familiar with that. Let's open it up. We've got Ask Mr. Robot, which really I just use nowadays for logging. I've got big wigs on this character. I know a couple of days ago on my Resto Druid, I had DBM enabled. Got Exorus raid tools, saved instances for ults and things. Got Scarda, which is obviously damage and healing up here, and we've got Voodoo. Some people I know when they're playing balanced probably use the default raid frames. Because I'm generally a healer, I like Voodoo and I'm used to it. I tend to stick with that. Obviously, then if I want to res people or help out a little bit with the healing, I can do. In its full entirety, when I'm in the raid, it looks something like that. Okay. Just bringing up a list there of the add-ons. So what we've got at the top there, weak auras. Obviously, I'll come back to that in a moment. LVUI, tell me when I'm not actually using. Auction Light, Angry Assignments, Aura 3. Quite a lot of those add-ons I'm very soon going to be getting rid of because I've found that Exorus covers a lot of those, and I'd prefer just to have the one add-on. Yeah, so at the top there was weak auras, probably the most important thing for me as a balanced druid. I'd say it's essential for me. I'm sure there are some balanced druids out there that don't use it, but first thing you can see when I'm out of combat, there isn't actually a great amount of clutter on the screen. A lot more weak auras are only going to be enabled in combat. One of them that is up though is my missing Moonkin form weak aura. Simply because the amount of times I've popped on my cooldowns, gone into combat, and after a couple of seconds realised I'm in the wrong form and I've wasted my opener. So that's up all the while, just so I know before I even start, I need to go into Moonkin form. I could enable that so that it only works in raids or dungeons of a certain level or difficulty, say, but I found even when I'm out in the world battling monsters or leveling, what have you, I still forget to go into Moonkin form. So it's just there as a short reminder. Again, if I'm doing everything right, it shouldn't be there. So it's not screen clutter, I see it. So I guess the first thing is if I go into combat, and we see the meat and potatoes of my weak auras pop up. I'm not going to try and go through how to play a balanced druid or even show you how I play a balanced druid. I really just want to be able to see the weak auras I use to help me decide what I'm doing. So very basically we've got the Eclipse bar. I've got something that covers Celestial Alignment, something that covers Incarnation, which is a talent. This 3 here, along with that little weak aura, which I could probably make bigger, just tells me I'm capped on my Star Surgers. So as a druid I don't really want to be capped on them, so it's just that additional way of recognising. I've got my peaks here, which will only show and make a noise if I need to refresh my dots. If I don't, they won't appear. And obviously if I use a Star Surge I get the empowerments, and if I do the solar I get solar empowerment. These little faded boxes here are for things like trinket procs or ring procs. Obviously I need to be able to track them. I can use an add-on. So there is an add-on you can use to track things like trinket procs and ring procs, which is here at the moment. It's called Extra CD. Sometimes I use it, but generally I prefer just to make my own weak auras. It's just as easy. And again, it's reducing that number of add-ons that I have. But yeah, a lot of people like this extra cooldown thing. It's quite visible, as you can see, but anything this was doing I could incorporate into my own weak aura if I wanted. I guess the easy thing is this will recognise every trinket, this will recognise every proc within part of the add-on, whereas when I'm making them I have to go in and find out what the name of these things are. So Sign of the Dark Star. Let's just disable that. So extra cooldown, that's the name of it. So there you go. That's disabled. Right. Yeah, so that's basically it really. When I put dots on the class, I've got the dots showing here as part of my frames. I've also got it as part of the nameplates. When I'm in combat, you'll find I have the boss's nameplates and things down here, so I can kind of do mouse overs on them all. And again, the dots are displayed on there, so that's why I haven't really got any dots in this area. I don't need it in that many different places. Because I'm a healer, when I'm in combat, you'll find that my healing cooldowns are still listed, just so I can see what people are using. But the reason they're right over the far side is I'm not really going to pay a great deal of attention to it. There's also a res timer that I've moved over slightly. Obviously I'm still able to res, but 9 times out of 10 you'll probably find the healers are going to do the battle reses. And that's about it really, so the best thing I can do is probably go into combat and just sort of show you how it looks when I'm fighting. So let's queue for something. It would be nice if I could get council because we get lots of different bosses, so... Hi guys, back again. That took a little bit longer than I thought, so we managed to hit Halls of Blood, so hopefully we're going to see the council fight. Just go through a couple of things while we're here. So as you can see, on the DPS one I've got my cooldowns on this side, like I said, simply because it's not something I'm going to be paying so much attention to compared to when I'm healing. Again, I've got my my res monitor over here. Try not to pull the boss, or the mini boss. Again, pulling trash like this, if I've got the trinket on, I have to be a little bit careful. I don't like one trinket, but unfortunately this character I don't have it yet, so I don't have to worry about wild stuff like this. So while we're on the trash, I'm not going to say too much. Obviously, nameplates are important to me when DPSing. I can just mouse over, see how I put the dots on things. See, I've got a trinket prop there. 1500 intelligence, that's nice, so I can be lining things up with that. Actually, when that disappears, I'll go. I've got the ring one set up, I don't actually have the, oh, I do have the DPS ring, I think. We'll soon see. Obviously these are weak auras as well for the ring, I can see who's been using it, things like that. So on this fight normally it's sort of single target, but sometimes you'll get a raid leader that asks you to dot up the other 2 targets, especially if you're a Shadow Priest or an Affliction Warlock or a Balanced Druid. It really depends on what they want. If you do it off your own back it's probably padding, but it's also probably not the worst thing in the world. But for the sake of this, what I'm going to do, I am going to dot up everything, just so you can see. So I didn't use any cooldown. I didn't use a proper opener or anything because it's LFR, you're not going to get a timer. So this, that's kind of getting out. That very briefly what we saw there was a weak aura telling me that I'd got the mark, which is obviously very important to me. DPS, it's really important I know when we've got Bloodlust or when the ring's been hit, because I need to do things like using my cooldowns, so that's why they're so visible. Just I was talking about multi-dotting, so I've got the 3 different bosses there, so for me the way I generally do my dotting is I've got mouse over, so literally I just mouse over. Because it's in Sunfire, it puts on all 3 of them. We wait for it just to, let me just spam something. Wait for it just to go into the lunar eclipse. There we go. I can now individually put on there. So that's where now generally I will monitor my my dots. So obviously we're in Sunfire. Reapply that. There you go. It's reapplied. Right. I don't really care what I'm doing, so I'm going to just show you how I do my cooldowns. So I do have them macroed individually, so I can do Celestial Alignment or Incarnation separately. In this case, I'm just going to pop them both together. There we go. So now I know, obviously I've changed form and I've got both my real big cooldowns up. There's a Balanced Druid, that's where I'm going to make most of my... There we go, just refresh the Sunfire, and when it comes... Oh, it's not going to come back now. So I don't really want to go into how I play. Okay, so I can just see over here that we've got Resto Druids just propped to Tranquility. Nice to know. Again, if I want to put on some rejues just to help people out, I can do. Cast bar here in case I need to interrupt. I can't interrupt that, but again I just use the mouse over. You can see solar beams going on in there. And I could do the same on here as a mouse over. What else is going on? This is really difficult trying to see what's going on. We'll talk about... okay, so we've got not DBM, we've got bigwigs here. I'm not that happy with where these are placed. Obviously when I'm healing I have DBM right under my feet so I can see it. I don't probably play DPS enough really to change it at the moment. These are the short term bigwig cooldowns. These are the longer term things. So obviously I can see mirror images in 15 seconds. I haven't starfalled yet, so if I do a starfall, you can see I've got a starfall bar there. And somebody's used the ring, so I can see the rings properly there. So a lot more time is going to be attention to be down in this area. And as big as that is, I don't always notice it. Obviously I've let the dots drop off while I was talking. Right, so I'm going to multi-dot these, so dot on there, dot on there, dot on there, dot on there, dot on there. So I'm just using nameplates and mouse overs and reapplying on the starfire. Should try and help that a little bit. So keep the starfall going. I could have interrupted that, never mind. Fire on him, sun fire on him. Again, several places I can see my dots. I can see them down here, I can see them up there, I can see them on the plate. Obviously I've got a kind of timer there, and by the looks of it I don't have my timer dive, which I should have really. It's obviously an old one, I don't play a great deal of this one too. But it could be handy to see how much longer I've got before he goes. There's the mark, so I know that's quite important, so I can start to look for the reaper timers, make sure I know where I can go, get out of the way. Okay, so Dyer's dead anyway, so there isn't going to be a reaper, so it's not a problem. Some people have said to me before my weak auras are quite large. For me, the bigger they are, the more important they are. So something like Mark, it's criminal to obviously have the Mark go off while you're in the middle of a stack group. You're going to wipe everybody. So I've done it too many times and wiped a group not to have it huge. You know, for me, that's just the most important thing. I see it. That's why I've got it also bouncing around. Let's try another one, see how that goes. I mean, just looking at this, there's lots of little things I could probably change, but I don't play a balanced Druid enough. I'm not happy that the MK scrolling battle text is going over the top of my cooldowns. So when I get a chance, I'll probably move that across. In fact, let's do that now quickly. Scroll areas, configure. Okay, so now we're going to just move that across a little bit. Hopefully that'll I just don't like one thing being over the top of something else. Obviously you can see tooltips popping up there, that's part of the LVUI setup. Or tooltips there, which is part of the Voodoo setup, depending on whatever I want. Obviously that's an expanded one, so I can see a little bit more. 676, Rep Pally. Not sure what we're waiting for, I'm assuming we haven't got a tank. Yep, both tanks are left. So obviously we're in Luna, so I've got my Luna Surge prop. Oops, things are going to die too quickly to play properly. Right, I want to make this a short video, so I'm going to jump out now. There's only a couple of little things I just want to go over. So let's leave group. Okay, so I can see I haven't got Mark of the Wild. There we go, just put that back on. What I did want to say is these weak auras are all courtesy of a guy called Cyrus, or Cyrus. He plays for a guild called Promethean in America, one of their top guilds, or he used to, and a guy called Lappy, who is probably debatably one of the world's top balanced druids. He plays in Paragon. They created these weak auras and they posted them for people to use on MMO Champion, the forums. All I've done is tweak them a little bit to suit myself. So what I'll do is when I post this on YouTube, I will put the links for the MMO Champions website, and I'll also then just put my own strings as well, just so if you like the way I've tweaked them, you can do that.